hat person, so oh, good morning. I'm not a hat person, so I don't have a hat to rock, but hey, you have my crown, and that's all that I have for you. So yeah, so good morning, everyone. I hope that you all are doing well. Like Rock said, wishing everyone a very happy Mother's Day. And then for all who are going through hardship and it's just a tough day, I know that it's rough. And so my heart and prayers are with everyone, and I'm praying for you, and just know that God has got you. So on today, I am not going to be very long. Want to be inspirational to everyone. Just a little quick hit for everyone, so we can gain something and walk away, and then take on the rest of our day. But if you saw our outline of it, it's the recipe of a godly woman, and I chose to focus on the recipe of what a godly woman is, because I know that as much as we like to celebrate mothers and we celebrate, all of those, I do know that this is tough timing. And I do know that it is not always easy for everyone to focus in on that mother aspect. And because this is the sisterhood, motherhood is all about just being a woman. And when you're a woman of God, you can be a mother, you can be the auntie, you can be the grandmother, you can be whoever it is that God has destined you to be. And so that's what I wanted us to kind of focus in on. And I was thinking about the fact that each one of us are on these journeys, or in this journey that we're calling life. And each one of us is striving to just be the best that we can be. And there's a little thing that I kept seeing that was floating around. And there's an actual like skit and book that's called The Recipe of a Godly Woman. But I saw this one and I said, you know what? This is something the sisters could use. And so if you're note taking all of that, you're just simply going to write out the W, the O, M, A, and the N on your paper. And each one of these are the ingredients of what make us who we are. And it's the essence of women. It's the essence of the beauty that is within us. I am, contrary to what the outside world might think, I love feminism and I love all of these things about women being strong, but there's a beauty in just being a woman. Like, I don't have to have dominance and everything. I'm glad that God didn't put that on me, and that he made me unique, and he made you, sister, unique as well. And I want us to embody that we're here by design, we're here on purpose for a purpose, and there is beauty in who we are. And so when God was putting and God was molding and God was saying, hey, I'm going to create a woman, and there's an essence in who I'm going to make, and there's an essence in this woman that I'm placing, he had to put some things together. And so if you're ready to understand the ingredients and things that he put together that make you who you are, sister, let's go. So that W that God has is that he gave each one of us wisdom. Sister, even though you and I sometimes don't always use wisdom when we're carrying out decisions and the things that we have to make, God still implemented that, and he still made it relevant for us. Proverbs chapter 8, and then the verses there are 1 and 2. It talks about like the woman wisdom, and Solomon and his greatness and the wisdom that God gave him. He's passing on, information, and he's talking about why you have to be someone who has wisdom. And he gives examples about, is wisdom, something that you're using in all things, or not all things. And I don't know about y'all, I'm not gonna bash the brother too badly, but there's something that he placed in us where we just have that innate sixth sense, where we can just know, we can feel. If any of us have had our children, or have been close when we're raising up others, it's something about, you can tell when, just by a look, or by the way that they turn their head, or they say something, that something is off. And that can be for your spouse or anyone. I believe that just as women, that's God's extra ability that he gave us, to be able to pick up on things when people are not well, or we can sense that there's something more that is there. And being a godly woman, you want to make sure that you're being wise to the things that God has, because it's in wisdom that we learn what God has for us. If you're ever lost in your life and you're looking for ways to be able to come stronger and become better, I challenge you to go to the book of Proverbs and just read some of those things. It's amazing how He compares wisdom as a lady. He says, Lady Wisdom, and he references, and then he starts giving down all these facts about the things that Lady Wisdom will teach you. And I don't know about you, but we are the givers and the carriers of life. We're the creators and the sustainers of that, sisters. And in order for us to be who God wants us to be, inside of that recipe, he put a little bit of wisdom inside of each and every single one of us. And if you felt like, well, you know what, Tiff, I don't think I've always been wise in the choices that I've made. I don't think I've always did the right thing. That's okay, because the beauty in the God that we serve is that he gives you what you need when you need it, and he'll deposit it right on time. And so for you and I, sisters, that's a part of our ingredient. The O, it represents obedience. There are countless stories and countless interactions inside of the word that are women who obeyed, who went against the grain, but they decided to stay true to God. And they decided that my obedience is going to be better. My obedience is going to be stronger than what the outside is telling me. If you don't believe me, we're going to go back to the Old Testament and Deborah back in Judges chapter 5 and verse number 7. She was the first female judge, and she's really the only female judge that was in history, and the prophetess that was there in our Christianity line and walk. Now, it was very unpopular back in that day for a woman of that nature to be able to rule and to hold over, but she did it boldly, and she did it because she said, I'm going to stay obedient to God. Sisters, we all have an essence inside of us. And some of us are those, we're going to tell you how it is. We're going to stand firm. We're going to do what it says. And we're going to be good judges. Sometimes God has given some of us as women, well, all of us, we are beautiful. Rock says it all the time in the affirmation that we're beautifully and wonderfully made. All of us have a beauty about us, and we can use that beauty to help influence and be an influencer for others. Although there are some women out there who use their beauty to get things the wrong way, but as women of God, he put beauty inside of us. You don't believe me? Remember Esther, how she was deemed as this beautiful woman, and that everybody just was in awe of what she was, and her essence and her glow. And she used her influence, she used her beauty factor to save a whole entire nation. Sister, you and I have that essence inside of us. You know that all it takes is a little wink, it takes a little nod, and you can turn the head of some people, and you can be the voice for those who don't have a voice. God put that as an ingredient that makes us unique. And that's why it's an amazing to be a woman. And because we got God on our side, we can be godly women at that. If that's not enough, God's put some of us as being successful. We all have occupations or had an occupation at one point in time, whether you were the homemaker and you were the mom that kept the house running and you made sure everybody was fed and took care of everyone who was in the neighborhood. Whether you're a businesswoman and you are the CEO, you're doing things on the job. Lydia in the Bible, she was known as being a wonderful businesswoman, and how when she died, everyone was toe up and flow up. They was like, oh, can you please? And they were begging, just in awe. And then they brought her back to life, and she just kept on servicing and kept on doing. Some of us have been blessed in that, sisters, and that is in our obedience to God. God gives us talent and he gives us gifting, and we have to be able to tap into that and know that that's a part of your recipe, being obedient to what God has to say, in spite of how you might feel. There's going to be times in opposition and times where you don't want to do, but you've got that inside of you. That's a part of the recipe that God created for you. If that's not enough, remember Phoebe. She was a financial contributor. Some of us just flow. We may not do the hands-on work, but we'll say, I can give you money to this. You go ahead and be great and do that. God has blessed us in other avenues. And that's a part of us being obedient to what God has. And that's just some of the blessings that God gives us. So, sisters, we've got wisdom that's a part of our ingredient. There is obedience that's a part of us. And then that M stands for ministry. I know that it has been taboo for for long periods of time that women, they can do certain things and they cannot do things. But I want you to understand and to think about you are ministry, how you walk, Sistar, how you talk, how you interact with others. You might not do anything but give a smile to the little children that come around you. You might be the Sistar that gives the best hug when somebody is going down. You might be the one who knows how to send the right text at the right time and just encourage other people. You might be the one who steps in when you see that chaos is all around. You, Sistar, are ministry. And I want you to understand that God has placed something inside of each and every single one of us. Remember back in John chapter 4 and verse 39, this is often the story that is or the parable, or yeah, the story that is applied of the woman at the well. And you remember how she was outcasted and she was deemed as not being reputable, and nobody wanted to be there. She had to go and draw water when nobody else was around because of the simple fact that she didn't want to be bothered and people thought she was done. But when she encountered Jesus and when he told her about, I'm your new living water and I am he, y'all remember what happened? She took that and she ran, y'all, and she went telling everybody that she could. Now, the crazy part about it that we kind of skip over is that Jesus tells her not to say anything, but she's so compelled. She's so in awe, and she's so excited about, I met a man who can see me, who can see where I'm going and understands me, and he don't care about the other stuff that I did. He wants me to be well, and he wants me to be made whole. And she didn't have much to bring. She didn't have much to contribute, but she opened her mouth and said, come see somebody who knows everything about me. Come see somebody who is here and who can deliver you and who can heal you and who can help you. I don't know what you're doing, but come. Come. She didn't care how people looked at her. She didn't care about what people might have said, could have said, would have said. She just said, he's here. He's changed me. He's blessed me. And I'm going out there and I'm going to be the best me. I'm going to tell everybody, hey, if he did it for me, he can do it for you. Sistar, she used what she had. And I'm telling you today, you might have came in, like, oh, I don't have anything to contribute. I see other people doing things. Use what you have, Sistar. And that's the essence of you. All of us have something inside, and you can use it. And you are the ministry that God wants to use. He wants you to go out and to tell the world about all the great things that are at the essence of you. This is a part of our recipe. He's given us wisdom. He's telling us that we can obey, and then he's put you in ministry. And if that's not enough, he gave us a little bit of attitude. Can't nobody give attitude like a woman. I'm here to tell you, can't nobody do attitude like we do. But this is what God had put in. And I think he gave it to us because he knows that we can be the game changers and we can be the thermostats for situations. When we, as women of God, come in, we should have an attitude that is of that of Christ. When people come in and they see us, or when we come into a situation, they should be like, I'm so happy that she was here, because you know what? She changed the way that I was thinking about stuff. She helped shift my mindset. You should be the essence that changes everything when you come in. And that's just a part of who we are being women. We have that soft, gentle touch. We have those soft words that we can say to others. But we have to be careful, because if we're not using it and we're not tapping into God, even though we're soft natured, we can cut people to pieces and we can shred them by our looks, by the things that come out of our mouth, just by the things that we do. But if we're being godly women, we got to know that your attitude changes everything. Your attitude is actually your altitude, and the altitude is up above, and there is no limit. So, as women of God, we can go as high as we want to go if we're using the wisdom, if we're obeying and trusting in God, and if we're using everything that he's placed inside of us to be our ministry, then our attitude is going to be that of Christ. And people are going to see us day in and day out. And then when they see us, they really going to be seeing the Father, because that's what he put inside of us. And then that ends, Sistar. It stands for, we are women of noble character. Now, Galatians chapter 2 and verse number 20 says that I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself of me. Sister, that word noble character, it means someone who is having or showing or coming from personal qualities that people admire. Sisters, no matter what you think about yourself or how you feel, being a woman, you have influence. Being a woman, you have some character. And whether you believe it or not, people are always watching you. You walk into a room, somebody is watching you, and they want to see what you are going to give out, and they want to see what the essence of you are. And sister, I'm here today to tell you that you and we have to make sure that we're remembering who we represent whenever we walk out and whatever we do, whether you're mothering, grandmothering, whether you're teaching, you're aunting, you are being the CEO on your job, whatever capacity you see yourself in, whatever it is, remember that someone is looking and watching. And so we have to be the representative that God has already put. He put all of these ingredients into place because He says that you are beautiful and you are wonderfully made. And there's the essence about you that can't nobody take away. And when you remember that you got the recipe to being godly, and when you're keeping God first and forgetting about everything else, when you're keeping your mindset on the sun, the SON, and not the SUN, when you're keeping yourself in alignment to who God is and what He has for you, then that's when you can remember, I can walk right, I can talk right, I can be better. Those people aren't going to bother me. I have influence, I have change, I can be a change maker. You have all of that because of the God that is living inside of you. Christ came, He bled, He died just so you could have a right to being more. And because of that, you've got power. Because of that, you have purpose. Because of that, the star, you can have the essence of a woman. You better remember your ingredients as we walk on today. I know hearts are heavy. I know people are going through. I know that it's just not a good day. Times are tough. Life is lifing for a lot of people right now. But when you remember, I got these ingredients that are making me who God has molded me to be, you can smile, you can put one foot in front of the other, and you can say, you know what? I woke up. I got purpose. I woke up. There's something greater for me. I woke up. So that means that I am needed and that I am here. And you can rejoice, Sistar, in being a woman. You've got the ingredients. Use them and mold them and make them a part of you each and every day. Don't you sit around with your head hanging down. Remember that you have power, you have purpose, and you are the ingredients of a godly woman. Rox, I turn it back over to you.